Yeah, showers at present. I was watching Jerry on the weather forecast last night. Said it should be a good enough weekend. Is he your favourite weather forecaster? I think he's mine. I like Jerry. He really is a nice chap. Could you please wish a happy 9th birthday to Leo McGrath Tremor? Lots of love from Mam, Dad, Sam, Sophie and Robin. Big hello to Finn Fleming and Faith Lake, who's 10 today. Virtual big hugs from Dee and Joe. Paul says he stopped by the guards every day. He's a greenkeeper. I must say the courtesy and good manners from the Gardaí is very noticeable. Well said, Paul. Margaret says, my cat never leaves me, following me up and down the garden. She's in for some shock whenever I go back to work. Loving the show. Margaret, thank you very much and hope your cat is well. Siobhan says, can you please play The Flowers of May? We've played it already, Siobhan. We might play it a little bit before the end. Good morning, Damien. The reason Grattan Square in Dungarvan is so busy is that the council have made parking free in Dungarvan. The cars are parked in the square are those of essential shop workers, retails and pharmacy. There's other parts where it would be busy, but it's not busy. So it doesn't mean that the town is packed. Damien, apparently there's clusters of coronavirus in some meat plants. Should we be worried about buying meat? No, there's no indication whatsoever. People are talking about wiping down, obviously, packaging and stuff like that. But again, nothing to indicate anything like that. Good morning. I've contacted several places to try to adopt a dog. I haven't had any answer. I know they need to check homes and things like that. I've always had rescue dogs and I want to help. My favourite song is Dean Martin, Little Old Wine Drinker Me from Bridget and Kilmacow. What about We'll Meet Again, says Vera Lynn. What about Pharrell? Happy. Damien, can you please wish Jenny and Eddie Flynn a happy anniversary from Flynn Gang? Can you please play Keep On Moving by Five, please? Rowena in Kilcohen Park. A birthday request for one of my dearest friends, Louise. She's had a bad couple of months with all that's happening at the moment and we can't spend quality time together. Just want to show her how much we love her. That's from Eleanor and Aaron. So many requests coming in. We're not going to get to everybody, but Izzy has requested this one. What about Walking on Sunshine? You like this one, don't you? Now we'll come back. We're going to keep playing more songs in a little while. My favourite song is Codaline, Brand New Day from Jerry. I was streaming mastering the first half of the show. Sorry I missed it, says Siobhan. No problem whatsoever. We might play it again later. Rowena in Kilcohen Park says Keep On Moving by the Five. Now, what about Facebook? Do you interact much with Facebook? Do you know what rules Facebook have and how they get on with stuff? So we're going to try now and have a chat with Gavin Lam, the head of Facebook. Morning, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Damien. How are you keeping?
I'm good, thank you. Tell me about your position in Facebook, please.
Yeah, I'm the head of Facebook Ireland, so I represent our company employees here.
And tell me about the company at present. How many employees do you have, full and part-time?
We have about 5,000 people working for Facebook in Ireland. About half of those are full-time employees and about half are contractors, companies like Accenture and CPL, etc. But we have our international headquarters here in Dublin, which represents a lot of our functions both in Europe and around the world. And we have a data centre in Meath and a virtual and augmented reality research office in Cork. So we've quite a large footprint in Ireland, employees and offices.
And in terms of the current situation, how many people are working from home or how are you managing?
Yeah, virtually all. I think it's about 96%. We just have some essential services still in the office, in particular, as you can imagine, say, around the data centre, keeping that, operational. But virtually all our employees are working from home. We're fortunate, as a tech company that we have the infrastructure, everyone has mobiles, etc. So, it's not going too badly from a work and productivity point of view.
In terms of the trying to help out and be involved with community care action groups, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, people have always come to Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp to build community and connect with friends and families. But of course, in recent weeks, as we're adjusting to staying at home and social distancing measures, we're seeing communities and our apps come together to support one another in amazing ways. And I think people in Waterford have been, remarkable too, not only in supporting their own friends and families, but frontline workers, emergency service personnel, and even complete strangers. So we've seen huge amounts of Facebook groups springing up to support the community in Waterford. A really nice one that's come up in the last few weeks is the COVID-19 Waterford Community Care Action Group, which has over 7,000 members who are offering help to the elderly and vulnerable. So, volunteers are coordinating deliveries of groceries, medication, prescriptions, fuel and other essentials to those who need it most. And they're also doing things like sharing helpful information like local business opening hours. So there's a lot of that kind of volunteering community kind of groups happening in Waterford. But other areas that are very active too are wellness and music. So, of course, staying active and positive is more important than ever at the moment. And a good example in Waterford is My Yoga Waterford, which are doing what they can to keep minds and bodies alike happy and healthy by sharing yoga video tutorials, breathing and mindfulness exercises, and even just motivational quotes on their Facebook page. And the final example I'd give, which is very important, is music. Important to keep spirits high. And Waterford Musicians Notice Board are using their platform to bring music into homes all over the county. So using Facebook Live, they broadcast live sessions for people to enjoy while at home from Waterford brands and musicians like The Singularity and Anya O'Gorman. So, a lot of examples across community, well-being and music.
Could you do more, Gareth? Could you give money or give something back to these community groups that are doing this? Like, do you ever get criticism for not giving stuff back to such groups that are set up?
No, I think on the contrary, we're getting quite a lot of kudos for all the efforts we're making at the moment. I mean, our priorities, at the moment, especially during this pandemic, are 1, keeping people safe, 2, keeping people connected, and 3, helping the economic recovery, in particular through, assisting small businesses. So just one example to your question on the latter, on small businesses, we've launched a 100 million grant around the world to help small businesses grow, and a lot of Irish companies will qualify for that. We're doing a lot of seminars, or rather I should say webinars online, to help small businesses adjust quickly to a digital transformation, which was a trend that was happening anyway, but is in particular happening during this COVID-19. So we've put hundreds of small businesses through those free online training pieces. So, it's a mix. A very good one as well. We extended our fundraisers. So we've always had fundraisers where people could donate to charities. We've extended that to businesses, so people can actually make donations to small and local businesses. So I think between things we've activated in the community, financial incentives and training, we're actually very busy helping the community in that regard.
Yeah, I understand that. And again, that's all driving traffic through Facebook, which is good. Again, I'm not being a killjoy here on this. I'm just saying, Is there anything more from a business perspective that you could do to return, I suppose, the love that people have for Facebook and the interest they have in it and the connectivity, as you say? Is there anything more, I wonder? Are you considering any other different strands of approach on this?
Well, I think the areas I mentioned are pretty large and requiring quite massive efforts from the company. Okay. I suppose, the way we're contributing to is just through our own ecosystem in Ireland. I mean, Facebook spent €1 billion directly in the Irish economy last year. A lot of that was in building and through, local suppliers. So yes, the company itself, through its presence, is doing a lot. I wonder, is there, other examples maybe you're thinking of beyond the ones I'm saying, which involve...
No, again,
platform and communities?
Yeah, I'm just sort of trying to think laterally about this, because a lot of it comes back to, I suppose, then how we're going to get through this, and to getting through this as well, obviously misinformation. Mark Zuckerberg has been making big play on this in the last while about trying to counteract misinformation, particularly when it regards to COVID. Can you give me a few practical examples, please, about what you're doing, how you're doing it?
Yeah, well, that's actually a great example as well. I was focused on the businesses earlier, but look, at Facebook Ireland, we're working really hard to keep people accurately informed throughout this crisis. As well as enforcing all our own misinformation policies, we've been working very closely with the HSE to ensure people have accurate information. So, for example, at the top of every person's newsfeed on Facebook, we have a pop-up post directing them to the HSE website. We're supporting the HSE with free advertising across all our platforms. Anyone who searches for coronavirus on Facebook or Instagram is directed to the HSE website. And in fact, the HSE have reported that we've already sent over 200,000 visitors to the HSE website from our platforms. We've also more recently put in some additional measures where we're looking back, and anyone who has interacted with harmful content, like stuff that's been debunked, these things around 5G masks or fake kind of medical cures, we're showing them messages telling them they interacted with the information and directing them to the WHO. So, in the month of March alone, we had warnings on over 40 million posts on Facebook because we have thousands of fact checkers checking these things. And what we find is when people see these warning labels, about 95% of the time, they don't go on to view the original content. So we have huge global and Irish measures going on here. But I will just make a final point on this, which is, despite all the things we can do on Facebook and via education, we of course support the government's calls, encouraging people to think before they share as well. I mean, even stuff from well-meaning friends and family, we really, encourage people to ensure the information that they're sharing is from a trusted source, like the HSE or official spokespeople, whether they see it on Facebook or not.
Yes. And does that misinformation, those misinformation policies that you say apply to, I suppose, public health matters, do they apply as well, Gareth, to individuals? So, for example, if somebody put up misinformation about somebody else, saying they had they'd done something bad in their lives, how do you check that out? And how do you take it down fairly quickly, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, that kind of stuff is obviously more difficult and more subjective. But we have very clear policies around, for example, hate speech or bullying or anything like that. So we take down content all the time. We have 30,000 content reviewers working on this around the world, including a couple of thousand in Ireland. And between our systems and the AI, which is increasingly being very effective in this area, and all these content moderators, we take down content that violates those policies. People can report that stuff on their Facebook post by going to the top right button, and that content is then reviewed. Look, it isn't always taken down. Some people aren't always happy that we deem it not to have violated our policies, but they are very public and have been created with, experts in academia, NGOs, governments, etc., to land on them.
No, I understand that. It's a very interesting topic because it combines that idea of the misinformation policies that I was looking at that you have that are very specific and very good for general health issue and how they apply to individuals. So if somebody accused me of doing a bad deed, how do you check that out? Like, it's a difficult one, is it?
Yeah, well, of course it is. Things like that.
Or would you just take it down and
or slurs? No, I mean, it's reported to us. So first of all, the first step someone has to make is report the content or the piece to us.
Okay.
And then it's reviewed via our policies, and people are informed whether it was taken down or whether, it didn't breach the policy violations. Of course, there's, some cases where, we don't. But if it's deemed bullying, and we have very specific policies, of course it's hard to create these in the first place, but if it's deemed, bullying or slander or whatever, it is taken down. But, it's an area that's been controversial for social media and the internet for, as long as it's existed.
Very much so, yeah. And again, time is of the essence here on this. So obviously you try to do things as quick as possible, I presume.
Yes, of course, yes. We have service levels where we take content down. We have, as I say, what we call an around-the-sun service, whereby we have content moderators in various languages around the world, because, you have to complicate this with different cultures and different languages.
Yes.
So it is a huge area for us, a huge area of investment for us. We spend billions of dollars a year on the safety and integrity and security. But yes, like I said, it's one of the more difficult areas. But, I think we're doing better at it all the time, do better at it every year. And AI is going to be a huge solution to a lot of this, in particular things around graphic content and stuff like that. That's
artificial intelligence, so any of your listeners don't understand. No, you're fine. So as you say, the Waterford Musicians Notice Book, and a lot of people will be looking at concerts over the weekend. Do you get to switch off yourself? What do you do yourself? Do you actually turn off your phone, turn off your computer?
Oh, I do. Everything in moderation. I don't propose, for example, that people be all day on their phones on our apps and services or any others. So, I limit myself on that. I use all our apps and services quite a lot. Of course, at the moment, I am, looking a lot of at the music live streams. I am also looking at a lot of the kind of well-being kind of, yoga and Pilates and health classes. I'm trying to do those with my children, trying to get us all active on that. So, like anyone, I'm kind of doing the best I can. But it is actually a very busy period for me and for Facebook at the moment because, we're actually seeing quite a surge in activity on our services, as you can imagine, because people are in particular using this time to connect with family and friends, whether that's WhatsApp video calls or just connecting with each other on Facebook or sending each other jokes for a bit of levity. It's quite a busy time for us. And, of course, at the moment, we're also working with the government on these misinformation things we spoke about. We're looking at return to work protocols. So, it's a pretty busy time for me.
Gareth Lam, to you and your children, your family, mind yourself and take care. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Damien.
Thanks very much for that, Gareth. Some texts in. Trusting the HSE. What this anybody who's a cervical smear scandal sufferer says this really wouldn't really wash with this person. Good morning. Happy birthday message to Helen Butler. Great mum, mother-in-law, nanny. Miss you and love you loads. Gordon, Denise, Ethan, Brian, Olivia, Robin, Lauren, Sasha, Julian, Peter, Noah, Isaac, Ellie. Molly May Flynn celebrating a sweet 16th birthday from home today. Want to wish a special happy birthday to my own mother and father, Anne and Sean. Daddy is celebrating your birthday on the 3rd of May, Mammy on the 7th of May. Happy birthday to both of you. I know you're listening up in Wicklow. Damien, regarding Facebook, someone's tried to log into my account. I stopped using it 10 years ago. I tried to delete my account, but why does this procedure take a month? During this time, my account could be vulnerable. I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't get to that question before I finished up the interview with Gareth. Good morning. I'm a volunteer with Deise Animal Sanctuary. I just heard you said a lady is looking to adopt a dog. She's living in the city. I can do a home check. If she can ring me, you can pass on her details. Thank you very much. And that's from Catherine O'Regan. So it is possible to do some dog checks, and Deise Animal Sanctuary are available to do that in certain circumstances. Stay with us. We're going to say happy 19 to Alan Norris and all the staff at the Carrick Hotel in Carrick-on-Shore. And to all our listeners in Carrick-on-Shore, hope you're all keeping well. Especially for Angela in Balnamona, Angela Kirby. Some messages in as well regarding David Brophy. Davy Brophy's been buried today. He played with Thomas Francis Marr Band for years. So sad he cannot get the send-off he deserves with all the restrictions. R.I.P. Davy. That's in from quite a few people, including Glynis. Keep your texts and your comments coming in. 08333 33 975. We are going to play now a little interview that Liz Reddy, our head of news, did with Liam Cahill, the Waterford hurling manager. And she was asking about all the different issues that are happening at the present with the impact on the county hurlers. He's the county hurling manager. He's calling for a roadmap about what will happen for the rest of the year.
Things are strange for everybody. At the moment, obviously, definitely a change to everybody's, I suppose, structure to their days, and no different when it comes to, I suppose, preparing a hurling team as well. It's quite difficult. Tough times everywhere, mentally as well as everything else is. So it's hard going, but obviously, once everybody is healthy and well, that's the main thing.
Now, you had a chat with the players via a Zoom conference. What have you told them?
Yeah, well, at this stage, I suppose, the players, are obviously doing their own individual work behind the scenes, and it's quite tough when they're training regularly on their own without any date really to work toward the GA having come with anything really concrete as such. And it's not necessarily that we want a concrete date or want to be guaranteed that there's going to even be a championship, but I suppose we just crave to kind of get some structure in relation to a roadmap as to when we might see action in the various grades, be it club or county, and give us an idea as to what we can maybe aim for and structure our training and what have you around that. That hasn't come, or it has been slow in coming, and I think for everybody's sanity, we've decided to kind of taper back our training a little bit and leave fellas to their own devices there for the immediate future anyway.
It's a downtime for the next couple of months for them, is it?
Yeah, we're going to take a bit of downtime right up to maybe the end of July, and we'll see now. We're hopeful that the GA can come with some sort of a roadmap, as I said, some sort of structure to help us tailor our workload and stuff like that. If I'm being honest, it's obviously not priority now on everybody's agenda at the moment. It's more or less, obviously around keeping healthy and making sure that the right structures are in place for that to happen. And, I suppose being a contact sport hurling, it's not looking good that we have this virus under control well enough to be able to go back into that sort of a scenario where you'd have 30 plus odd guys in a dressing room. It looks to be a long way away from that happening, Liz,
And what were you doing up to now?
Well, really, Liz, it was just a case of making sure that players were, as I said earlier, just doing their own individual work. We would have been gearing now for the 10th of May for our first match against Tip in Welsh Park, and our training had changed, obviously, from the league into a more or less a speed, more power phase of our trainings. The boys would have been working on that element of it physically behind the scenes, but we wouldn't have been able to get, obviously, our hurling up to a level when we couldn't meet collectively. So a lot of structure had to be put around guys doing their own little bit of hurling work as well, and passing the trust levels over to the players to do that. And it's just so difficult, I suppose, when you haven't been around you on a regular basis, and it's quite hard for everybody, but especially for the players who are training really hard behind the scenes and not really knowing whether or not they're going to be in any championship or any day to work to at this stage. I felt just for everybody's well-being, it was just maybe better off to taper things off for a little while until we get some sort of direction from the GAA.
One of the findings from all of this is that you need that kind of face-to-face contact, don't you?
Sure, yeah. It's quite difficult to conduct any sort of, I suppose, conversation or feedback over the phone, or as we're getting at that hand now with all these Zoom meetings, we try to meet collectively once every week, if possible, as a group. It just hasn't the same effect, and especially hasn't the same effect when you haven't anything new to say in relation to where the structure of the championship and what's going to happen in relation to the model the GAA are going to put in place, if any. I'm not sure if the GAA probably don't know themselves. It's quite difficult for them, obviously, as well, because of the directives they're getting from the health authorities and the government, and the GAA are very, very adamant that they're going to abide by whatever instruction comes from there, and that's very much understandable as well, and we have to respect that and understand that this, as I said, people's health is priority at the moment in this given time.
Yeah, because you see so many mixed messages coming from even the professional sports. They can't decide what they're going to do, and they have the money to put different measures in place.
For professional environment, there's the option there where players can cocoon or stay away in an isolated club environment themselves, and professional sport like the Premiership in England are looking at playing behind closed doors, because that might be a model that can work for them. But in our case, like obviously when you have amateur sports people living maybe at home with elderly people or whatever, the risks are just incredible, and it's something that we as management and players be fully aware or fully sure of what way things are going to work out from that perspective. We need to be 100% sure before we can go back into that sort of environment. That's really what I'm saying, Liz, and I don't think the GAA or even the health authorities really know when that's going to happen.
And what kind of communication have you had from Croke Park?
As of now, nothing really. To be fair to our own county board and whatever, they've been relaying whatever they can from what they're being told. So I suppose really, apart from we knowing that the power is given to a certain committee in Croke Park to make these decisions when they have to be made fairly quickly. Other than that, we don't know anything else really. Only what we're hearing, from the rumour mill, that maybe clubs will be the first to go back if that is to be the case, and that'll be fine too. If there's club action there, and we can have to ease gradually back into that kind of an environment, that's great. Obviously they'll expect smaller crowds at club games, and we can test it as we go along to see if that model will work. But it's just, I suppose, everything is governed by how we can contain this virus and see how it's going to work out over the next couple of weeks.
And that was Liam Cahill talking to Liz Reddy. And any thoughts on that? Any comments? What do you think, if there's going to be any GAA over the summer? Let us know, please. If you're a GAA player, a club player or a county player, if you want to send us in a text, please do. I want to say a special happy 50th birthday to Imelda Ivory as well. And also a text in from Carmel. On this May Day, can you remember the 11 Waterford men and the 15th International Brigade who went to fight in Spain in 1936 against Franco's fascist regime? We had to cancel the remembrance ceremony due today because of COVID-19. Also, can you wish, please, two grandchildren, Robin and Jake Kerwin and Kilmac Thomas, happy 7th birthday. Lots of love from Nanny and Grandad in Lemmy Bryan. Now, I won't be able to play all of that song. Might play more of it later. Firstly, we're going to go to Joanne Cantwell. Good morning, Joanne.
Hi, Damien. How are you?
Good. Do you have a favourite happy song? We're trying to play as many happy songs as possible today. Have you a happy song, a song that you like playing?
Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Don't Worry, Be Happy. I like it, yeah. You are the City and County Archivist, and there's a Beoutna event, I suppose. The library is asking older people to share their memories of significant events in their lives, and we just heard memories there from Maroon 5. Tell me, please, about this initiative.
So normally in the month of May, we take part in the Bealtaine Festival that's coordinated by Age and Opportunity to celebrate the creativity and contribution of older people. And we, of course, can't be inviting people in and gathering together as we normally would for Bealtaine. So what we'd like people to do is still to contribute to their community in the best way that they can. So the idea behind the I Remember project is that we're asking older people to contribute their stories and their memories of significant events that they've experienced. A lot of our older people have actually already experienced public health incidents because they may have already had to isolate or be quarantined because of an outbreak of TB or polio in the 1950s, which was a very scary time for a lot of people. But they coped and they survived. And so we'd love to hear about all the different stories that older people have about the kind of events that they have had, because life is very uncertain and changeable, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad ways. And the wonderful thing that we have as people is our resilience and our ability to bounce back when things change. So we think with this project is that our older people have had lots of experiences. They've lived through lots of different recessions, all sorts of different things over their lives, and they've built up lots of different ways to cope with what life throws at them. And we think that by sharing their stories, they can help other people at the moment who are having difficulties just in coping with the uncertainty that we're living with today at the moment.
And how do you propose that they do that? Because there'll be some older people who wouldn't be too tech savvy. There would be some that would be very tech savvy. But what sort of ways and means have you got for them to do this, Joanne?
So one of the ways that we're asking people to share their story is to actually give us a ring and contact us through the Waterford Council customer care line. It's 0761 10 20 20, and to ask for Call to Chat. Call to Chat is a brilliant service that's operating by Waterford Library Service in collaboration with Waterford Older People's Council. And you can ring the customer care line number and ask for Call to Chat, and somebody will give you a ring back from Call to Chat and be able to have a chat with you about your memory and about your story. You can also post in your story to the council, whether to the council in the Mall in City Hall or to the civic offices in Dungarvan on Davit's Quay.
OK, it's a really good idea. What I'd like to do, Joanne, is if it's OK with you, when people start sending in their memories, we might talk to you in a few weeks' time and get a few of those memories and help promote them, and then that will help more people and maybe jog their memories. Would that be OK with you?
That would be absolutely wonderful. And in the meantime, as you say, some of our older people are really tech savvy. So if they are, they can share their memories on Twitter or Facebook using the hashtag Together Waterford is Stronger and tagging Waterford Council or Waterford Libraries or Waterford Archives. And we'll be able to share them that way as well. And of course, yes, if they could contact yourselves in WLR with their memories, that would be brilliant too. Super.
We'll keep in touch. Joanne, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Damien. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Joanne, Canwell City and County Archivist regarding that Bealtaine memories thing. So the number, if you want to write it down, 0761, that's 0761 102 144. 0761 102 144. Alan sent in a text regarding the case addressed by our guest Michael Nugent of Atheist Ireland. Firstly, I'm delighted, says Alan, that there are advocates for non-belief such as Michael. He's smart, articulate and hard-working. It should be said more often than the status quo that the status quo where religious concern still holds such sway in daily lives of Ireland is nothing short of insane. I say that without the hint of malice, sarcasm or hyperbole. In other words, that people who believe in miracles, magic, ghosts, all invisible, sky-dwelling master, can hold sway over those who don't accept their worldview. I'm sure this message may offend people, and that's not my wish. But making something sacred, that is, immune to argument, is something to be challenged daily until the new status quo is that logic and reason prevail. Thank you very much. Now, what do you think about that? Another texter, can you please give a mention to all the 999 controllers in the Garda barracks who never get a mention? I will certainly. Nice text in there from Amanda. Special mention to all the 999 controllers. Stay with us. We've a lot more coming up. Now keep your texts and comments coming in. For the last part of our show, I'm going to go to one of my favourite GA clubs in Waterford, Bricky Rangers. Good morning, Shane Deavy.
Good morning, David.
How are you getting on?
Good today. Yeah.
And I think we have your son Cormac on the line. Good morning, Cormac.
Hi.
How are you? If you're beside each other, just move into another room there because there might be a little bit of background noise, as they say, or if they have the radio on. Shane, tell me, your young lad is one of the stalwarts of the under-14 team with Bricky Rangers, and tell us about how he got into this idea.
Yeah, I suppose Cormac saw the effects of chronic asthma on me. I developed chronic asthma over the last 3 to 4 years, and so he saw effects that had on me. It slowed me down quite a lot. And also his cousin Dan Patrick in Lewisburg in County Mayo has CF, or cystic fibrosis. So that's why we picked both charities then to benefit from this. I suppose Cormac then has always played a lot of sport, GA, hurling, football. He plays under 14 with Bricky Rangers, and he loves hurling and is always playing hurling at home since he was 1 or 2, banging the ball against the wall, play that type of thing. I suppose with the schools shut down, then Damien, it was a natural thing for him to do. There's loads of time in his hands, so he came up with a fundraiser, I think.
Yeah, no, it's really fabulous, and we want to give you a bit of publicity on this, and that's why we've had you on, and thank you so much. Cormac, just explain to the people, what are you doing? What are you? What's your aim now for raising? Tell us. This is phenomenal what you're going to be doing.
I'm trying to run around cones while picking up slitters and doing multiple hurling skills in the process while covering a distance of 35 km. So 35 kilometres. You're going to be running 35 kilometres while doing all these hurling drills and skills around the garden. Is that it? Yeah, I will, yeah. That's what I'm doing, yeah.
That's amazing. And how are you measuring the duration and I suppose the distance? Are you doing a Fitbit type of thing?
No, we'd measure out the cones between each other, and we have 10 metres between them and that, and my sister counts them and that, and she'd be counting how much time they go around.
Oh, that's brilliant. And all the money is going to be donated to Cystic Fibrosis Ireland and the Asthma Society of Ireland. So, Shane, you have asthma yourself, and as you said, Cormac's cousin has CF. Is that it?
Correct, yeah. And that was, I suppose, the motivation for the fundraiser idea. He would have seen how, I suppose, asthma has affected me and his cousin then with CF. So that's where the idea came from, Damien, yeah.
Fabulous, yeah.
Sorry, just one mention there of Cormac. Then Shauna, she does a lot of the measuring and counting of the number of times that the distance covered and that sort of thing,
That has to be done as well.
Over a few days.
Yeah.
I think at the moment he's at kilometre 7, I think. So
fair play. How can people get in touch, Cormac? Do they get in touch with Facebook, or how do they get in touch with you?
They can go onto the Bricky's Facebook page. It'll be up there, and they can go to GoFundMe and search Cormac TV Drills fundraiser, and that should come up then.
Lovely. And Shane, that's
the GoFundMe.com, GoFundMe.com, and search for Cormac TV. That's probably the best place to get it there then.
Very good, and if not through the Bricky Rangers, if anybody wants to contact any member of the club as well. No, it's a great idea, and we've covered a few people doing special things during this time, and fair play to you lads. And Shane, mind yourself, and Cormac, mind yourself. Don't twist an ankle now or anything, Cormac, won't you not?
I won't.
And we'll see how you get on, and the very best of luck over the weekend with it, lads. Okay.
Keep you updated. Yeah. Thanks, David.
Dude, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Shane Deise there and Cormac talking to us there from Bricky Rangers, and hello to everybody in the Brickies Club, all the supporters and all the volunteers and everybody associated with that marvellous club. Now we'll end up with a little bit of Frank Patterson again. Bring flowers of the rarest. We got a lot of requests for this, A lot of people saying, please play it again, a little bit of it. Can we please wish happy 9th birthday to Leo McGrath Tremor. Lots of love from Mam, Dad, Sam, Sophie and Robin. So many other texts coming in. If we don't get to them, Jeff is going to get to them. Wish my daughter Hazel Quinlan in Cherrymount a very happy 50th birthday today. Lots of love, many thanks from Tom. Other people texting in so many different things that we haven't got to. If you haven't, as I say, Jeff will read them out later on. Please remind listeners the importance of hand hygiene. Just in a garage, 2 people went ahead of me, didn't bother using the hand gel. Everybody stay safe. It's a bank holiday weekend. Hope you have a great weekend. Mind yourselves. Edge forward every day. We are doing great. You are doing really, really well. Thank you, Julie, for the fabulous support and producing. Thank you to Laura. Thanks to everybody in News and everybody in WLR and all our listeners. Everybody for all your counteractions to the programme. Take care, folks. Mind yourselves today.